Well, this old tape recorder's been playing up a little bit, I think, and the tape that I have was only a cheap one, but I hope you can hear what I've been saying to you. I rang Mummy tonight and she said that Daddy's going to the Philippines soon and he's going to take Adele with him. Won't that be lovely, Adele, to be able to go and see all your relatives that you haven't seen since you was a little baby? Won't that be a happy time for everyone when you'll be able to go up in the big aeroplane? We went to the airport the other day to see the aeroplanes come back from America and meet some people, and that was interesting too, to see the planes and all the busy people walking around the airport. We also went up to Catherine's place because their neighbours had lots of geese and they didn't want to have two father geese, so they said we could have one of the geese. And so we have got that little bird put away in our fridge, just like we have lamb chops and chickens. We've now got a goose in the fridge, but it's too hot now to want to put the stove on. Heavenly Father gives us these things for food if we use them sparingly and kindly and thankfully. I had to go to the nursery today to help look after the children, and one little baby was sick, so he wasn't able to stay in the nursery, so I had to look after him. But he was sick and didn't want to play with any toys or read any books. He was a very good little boy and he didn't cry for his mother. I can't think of much else to say. I'll have to go to sleep, I think, because it's late, and then tomorrow I might be able to think of something to say then. Good night for now. I hope you're tucked up in your little beds and sleeping well. Follow the prophet. Adam was a prophet, first from the ground. In a place called Eden, he helped things to grow. Adam served the Lord by following his ways. We are his descendants in the latter days. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, don't go astray. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, he knows the way. Enoch was a prophet, he taught what was good. People in his city did just what they should. When they were so righteous that there was no sin, Heavenly Father took them up to live with him. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, don't go astray. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, he knows the way. Noah was a prophet, called to preach the word, tried to cry repentance, but nobody heard. They were busy sinning, Noah preached in vain. They wished they had listened when they saw the rain. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, don't go astray. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, he knows the way. Abraham the prophet prayed to have a son, so the Lord sent Isaac as the chosen one. Isaac begat Jacob, known as Israel. Jacob's sons were 12 tribes, so the Bible tells. Moses was a prophet sent to Israel. He would lead them to the promised land to dwell. They were slow to follow, so it appears. They were in the wilderness for 40 years. Samuel was a prophet chosen as a boy. Hannah promised God her son would serve with joy. In the tabernacle Samuel heard his name. He was called by God and answered, here I am. Here I am. Jonah was a prophet, tried to run away, but he later learned to listen and obey. When we really try, the Lord won't let us fall. That's what Jonah learned deep down inside the whale. Daniel was a prophet, he refused to sin, so the king threw Daniel in the lion's den. Angels calmed the lions, and the king soon saw Daniel's power was great, for he obeyed God's law. Now we have a world where people are confused. If you don't believe it, go and watch the news. We can get direction all along our way. If we heed the prophets, follow what they say. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, don't go astray. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, he knows the way. I hope I sang that right. It's a new song and I might have forgotten the right notes. Hey, Adele, you're going to go to the Philippines. Wacky-doo. Hope you have fun. Yes. I wonder where we can go. Up the river in a matchbox? No, we can't do that. I don't know what we can do. We had lots of peaches to cook the other day. Today we're going to the library and I've been to the doctor this morning. Tomorrow I'm going to the dentist and Wednesday I'm having an x-ray and Then we have to visit some people, and then Friday we're back in the library. Oh boy, it's a busy week. We don't have a little baby brother to keep us busy, but somehow we're always on the go. I don't know what I can tell you now. What's been happening? I guess all the foals are growing up on the stud, and there will be some new ones born next September. Ah, can you ride the Shetland pony now? Have you been having lots of rides? What can you do in the Philippines when the sun is shining bright? I suppose the nursemaids will look after you and play games with you and take you for walks, and Grandpa will spoil you. Will he? Ah. And I guess old Father Christmas spoiled you this last Christmas, did he? Birthdays come and birthdays go, the time goes quick, and soon it'll be another birthday at the end of this year. And I suppose next year Adele will go to school. She'll love that, and Isaac will be able to look after her on the bus, won't he? Yes. Okay, I better turn off until I find something to really talk about, hadn't I? I love to see the temple line go up and go. I feel the Holy Spirit to listen and to pray. For the temple is a house of God, a place of love and beauty. I'll prepare myself while I am young. This is my sacred duty. I love to see the temple. I'll go inside someday. I'll covenant with my Father. I'll promise to obey. For the temple is a holy place where we are filled together. As a child of God, I've learned this truth. A family is forever. I'm like a star shining brightly, smiling for the whole world to see. I can do and say happy things each day, for I know Heavenly Father loves me. I wonder when He comes again, the world angels sing. Will earth be white with drifted snow, or will our bird spring? I wonder if one star shine far brighter than the rest. Though daylight stay the whole night through, the sunbirds leave their nests. I'm sure He called His little ones together round His knee, because He said in days gone by, suffer them to come to me. I wonder when He comes again, will I be ready when that blessed day is here, He'll love me and He'll say, You've served me well, my little child. Come unto my arms to stay. She's a wonderful girl some of the time. It's very easy to like Maria, except when it's difficult. I'd like to say a word in her behalf. Maria makes me laugh. How do you find a word that means Maria? A clown. But how do you make her stay and listen to all you say? Oh, how do you solve a problem like Maria? Oh, how do you solve a problem like Maria? How do you hold a moonbeam in your hand When I'm with her I'm confused, out of focus and bemused, and I never know exactly where I am. She's a darling, she's a lamb. She is gentle, she is wild. She's an angel. How do you solve a problem like Maria? How do you catch a cloud and pin it down? How do you find a word that means Maria? A flippity chibbit. Many a thing you know you'd like to tell her. Many a thing she ought to understand. How do you keep a wave upon the sand? Oh, how do you solve a problem like Maria? How do you hold a moonbeam in your hand? How do you make her stay and listen to all you say? Oh, how do you find a word that means Maria? How do you hold a moonbeam in your hand?
もしもし亀よ亀さんよ世界のうちへお前ほど歩みの呪いものはないどうしてそんなに呪いのかなんとおっしゃるうさぎさんそんならお前とかけ比べ向こうの小山のふもとまでどちらが先に駆けつくかThis is the story of a rabbit and a turtle. And the rabbit challenges the turtle on a race. And the rabbit says, no matter how fast you run, you'll never be able to catch me. So they started to run a race. And along the way, the rabbit decided, oh, the turtle is way in the back, so I shall take a little snooze here under the tree. And he went to sleep and snoozed and snoozed and snoozed. And meantime, the turtle overtook the rabbit sleeping and kept on going, plodding right along until finally the rabbit woke up and he looked and he said, oh, well, I have better hurry up. And he started hoppity, hoppity, hop, going faster and faster, but no matter how fast the rabbit hopped, he can never catch up the turtle because the turtle was way out in the front of the finishing line. So now he said, now can you tell me who the better man is? And so this verse has 5 verses, but I cannot remember all the 5 verses, so we have sung the 2 verses only.
Thank you, Sister Sarah. Well, I'll read you a letter from Lainey that she wrote to Nanna and Pa. Dear Nanna and Pa, I love you. Silky, my mouse, died of old age. I really wish she hadn't. And I don't know whether you know about my other mouse called Speedy Gonzales Armstrong Mouse. He is black and white. Well, I haven't got him anymore either because he's loose in the old house. I really wanted a mouse for my birthday or Christmas, but I didn't get one, so I might be getting a duck. If it's a boy, I'm going to call it Donald, as in Donald Duck, but if it's a girl, I'm going to call it Lucy. I miss you. Our birds, Freddie and Tweety Pie, are funny. Mark's is Freddie and his is green and my one is Tweety Pie and she's yellow. They're both peach faces or lovebirds. When we let them fly around the dining room, we put a bird's tape on, and Freddie's on the curtain thing. When some soft birds are chirping on the tape, Freddie moves closer to the sound, and when the eagles come on, he would move away from the sound. Sometimes they fly to the fan, and we turn on the fan so that it is very slow. When they walk on the fan, it sounds like they're tap dancing. Pepsi is all right, but has a million fleas. She sits, stays, and comes. And when we say walkies, she comes for a walk with us to get the mail. Smooge, our cat, sometimes is very playful, but other times if you sit down on one of the cane chairs outside on the veranda, he lies down on your lap and goes to sleep. Mum was Relief Society president for 3 years, and just last week she was released. Mum's doing craft lessons with the set at the moment. Dad has been working all day long. I think he should get a rest. I've told him that. Hello, Adele. And hello, Jared. This is Nanna. She's going to talk to you on a tape today because she hasn't written a letter to you. I do hope you had a happy birthday. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you. Oh, I would like to see Jared. He's growing up, isn't he? Auntie Mary is you. She enjoyed her visit with you in Mudgee. And I believe the children had a ride on the Shetland pony. My, isn't it lovely to live on a farm or a stud where you have animals to watch gaily each day romping in the fields, and the birds come to nest in the trees and to sing. I love to hear the kookaburra. He goes kookaburra, kookaburra, doesn't he? Later on, I'm going to maybe read some little stories to you out of the nursery manual that I brought back from Sydney to take to the nursery here. I hope I'll be read them well because I haven't looked through them yet. Isaac will be going back to school soon, and he'll be travelling on the bus. Won't that be fun, Isaac, to be with your friends on the way to school and on the way home? I was happy to see Adele's birthday cake. I think she must have taken it to preschool and to share with the children. My word, Mummy did make a beautiful cake. We went to Sydney. We spent most of the time in the temple, but on Saturday night Nanna went with Sister Rothery to the opera in the park and saw the Magic Flute Opera. We got there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it didn't start till 8 o'clock, and everybody was drinking and eating and drinking, but we didn't. We had waited till we got home, and then throughout the night they were coming round selling iridescent toys or things that glowed in the dark, and they made pretty pinks and blues and greens and yellows and blues. And looked as though it was going to be a stormy night, but all it did was scud the clouds around in front of the buildings, in front of the tower, Centre Point Tower, and it was very pretty to see all the buildings lit up. And you know, the birds kept flying over, there were ibises flying over, and there were bats flying in the trees, and the actors and actresses acted it out on a stage, that is the opera. But there was a big screen where we could watch the opera on the screen also. And at the end of the night, all the fireworks went off. And we were sitting near a big tree, and it seemed like they were coming out of the tree, but I think they must have been back behind the tree. We went in a car with some sisters from Parramatta Ward to Lane Cove, and there we changed and got on a bus. And Sister Rothery and I, we carried 2 big chairs, and they were a bit of a nuisance on the bus and walking through the streets of Sydney, because there was a shower when we got into Sydney. But halfway, or just before the opera started, we saw 2 people coming in that we knew, and they parked their car at Woolloomooloo. So then in the end we had to walk to Woolloomooloo to get back to Lane Cove in their car, and they went so fast, and I'd been sitting so long my legs didn't want to work too well, and carrying this big chair I thought I was going to get swept away in the wave of the people, and I would be left in Sydney, and I didn't know my way to Woolloomooloo or where the car was, and I didn't know whether I'd be able to get back home, but I made my legs go faster and faster and faster, and sometimes I nearly fell over, but I managed to keep up with these people that were going to give us a ride. One of the girls that picked us up in the car to begin with, her name is Crystal. It's not really her name. I think her name is Maldiva, and she was born in the Caribbean islands, and she went to England and then came to Australia. And she is very, very dark brown, and she does her hair in hundreds of little tiny plaits all over her hair. She's such a lovely lady, and we enjoyed going with her because she was so funny. She made lots of funny stories and told us how when she was a little girl she lived near the well, and she lived in a very poor country, and she had to carry the water pot on her head. And then when she was in England, she trained to be a nurse, and she had lots of fun there. And so we had fun. I wonder what you've been doing with yourselves. I bet you got lots of lovely Christmas presents, and you're playing with all those things and the Ninja Turtles. While we were walking to the park, one of the sisters, she was a bit silly. Her name is Val too. And she saw a big drain, and she sang out, "Ninjas, are you down that drain?" And And you know it echoed from one end of the street to the other through the drains. But she didn't see any ninjas, did she? She has to watch on telly to find them. Well, what's Dad doing? He's working hard? I bet he is. And Mum's cooking and sewing, I guess, and doing all sorts of things and keeping busy with primary. We went to a Christmas party at primary and I got my photo taken sitting on the arm of the chair with Santa. And it's so pretty because in the background was a scene that they'd painted for the Christmas party the night before with toys in the windows and drums and tin soldiers, so it looks very pretty. I haven't been to the beach much this year, only once, because there's lots of jellyfish in the water and they sting, and you have to take some vinegar to the beach with you to put on the stings. So I haven't been, but it's been very, very hot here. Too hot to even lay on our beds at night. Very hot. But our garden's starting to grow again and we're picking some tomatoes and some carrots and some herbs, and we had a visit with a man who keeps lots of stones. I know you pick up all the little stones on the stud and find them very pretty, but this man is a geologist and he goes round and picks up all the big rocks and he puts the names on all of them and he stacks them up in a pile in his garden so that when his grandchildren come, they can learn all about the rocks. And he showed me how the rocks formed the shape they did by going down through the, I've forgotten what it is, the big ice flow that comes down in the mountains. Avalanche, I think it is. And he used to go to Hallett's Cove in South Australia, which is very famous, and pick up rocks there, and he also is a good photographer and he goes out into the Flinders Ranges and photographs everything. And he gave me a beautiful plant, but when I went away I left it outside under the shade of the tree so it could be watered when the people watered the garden, and it all scorched up. And I'm very sad, but I hope it will grow again into a lovely plant once again. He's a very interesting man, and it's very funny. He has the same family history as Grandpa, and his wife has the same family history as I do. It's fun gathering families together. We love doing that, and we kept very busy. So now I'll see if I can find a story that I can read you. This one is a Christmas story, so I'll read that one first, seeing that we've been talking about Christmas. It's called A Christmas Secret. Billy's big brother Tom had a Christmas secret. Billy wished he had one too. Tom was having fun working on his secret. Billy had never seen Tom so happy. Every day when Tom came home from school, he put a sign on his door that said, "Do not disturb." Billy couldn't read, but he knew that meant to stay out. One day Billy heard Tom whistling in his room. Can you whistle? He seemed excited. Billy felt he couldn't stay out any longer, but oh, that sign! He had to do what it said. Finally he knocked on the door. Tom opened the door just a crack and said, "What do you want?" Billy grinned and said, "Can't I see what you're doing, Tom?" Tom could see that Billy wanted to know about his secret so much that he let him in. Tom had made a loom at school and he was making a little rug for his mother. We weave threads on looms to make cloth, and your mummy used to do that and make lovely pictures. Billy thought the blue and white nylon strings were beautiful. He touched the rug and looked at its back and front. How he wished he had a present too. Tom said, "Won't Mother be surprised?" Billy didn't answer for a minute. He was thinking that he didn't have anything for Mother. Then he said, "I want to give Mama something." Tom could tell how much Billy wanted to have a secret, and he got an idea. He said, "Billy, do you want to be in on my present? You and I can give it together. You will be the door guard and help me keep people out." Billy's eyes opened wide, and he looked at Tom to see if he was joking. Tom was smiling. Billy knew that Tom really wanted him to help. The next day, while Tom was at school, Billy kept looking under Tom's bed to make sure that everything was hidden. That afternoon, when Tom parked his bike and came running in the back door, Billy was already standing like a soldier guarding the door. Billy thought Christmas would never come. It was so much fun to have a secret with Tom. But sometimes that secret really wanted to pop out. When Christmas morning finally came, the first box Mother opened was the one that said, "To Mother, from Tom and Billy." Tom winked at Billy, and they watched Mother's face. When she saw the pretty blue and white rug and the fine design on it, she was surprised and happy. But the two happiest people were Tom and Billy. Tom was happy because he had let Billy help him, and Billy was happy because he had been a helper. And both of them felt good inside because they were giving something to their mother. We feel good when we give something to someone else, don't we? Giving love and being good helpers are also important, perhaps more important than giving presents. I'm going to sing a little song that I used to sing when I was little, but this is also in the nursery manual. Did you ever see Lassie, a lassie, a lassie? Did you ever see Lassie do this way and that? Do this way and that way and this way and that way. Did you ever see Lassie do this way and that? Here's another little one that we used to sing. Here we are together, together, together. Oh, here we are together in our nursery. There's Mary and Isaac and Adele and Jared. Oh, here we are together this bright sunny day. Now, let's see if I can find another story. It's a Bible story. I wonder if this is too old for you. But when you grow up, you'll have to listen to it, won't you? And it's called Jesus Was Resurrected. It's a very big word. Perhaps Mummy will explain that to you and tell us in the story. Many people loved Jesus. They listened to the important things Jesus told them. They wanted to be good, but other people did not like Jesus' teachings. They hurt Jesus and took him away. They put Jesus to death. When Jesus died, his mother and friends were sad. They were unhappy because they loved Jesus alone this time. After Jesus died, some of his friends carefully placed his body in a sepulchre. A sepulchre is like a cave in a mountain. It was especially made as a place to bury someone. Jesus' friends rolled a large stone against the opening of the sepulchre. They did not want anything to happen to Jesus' body. They wanted to take a special good care of him. Every day they came to the sepulchre. Show me 3 fingers. That is how many days Jesus' body was in. Early in the morning, 2 women who were Jesus' friends went to the sepulchre. One's name was Mary Magdalene, and the other's name was Mary. They saw that the large stone had been rolled away from the opening of the sepulchre. Jesus' body was not in the sepulchre where they had placed it. angel was there. The angel told them that Jesus was not there. He told them Jesus had risen. No one had ever risen from the dead before. The two women were surprised and went to tell some of Jesus' friends. When Jesus was alive, he had told his friends that he would die and then live again. Still, it was hard to think that anyone could die and then live again. Jesus was the very first person to be resurrected. To be resurrected means to live again. Mary Magdalene brought two of Jesus' apostles, Peter and John, back to the sepulchre. Peter and John had been Jesus' faithful helpers. Peter and John looked into the empty sepulchre and believed what Mary Magdalene had told them. They then left the sepulchre. Mary Magdalene began to cry. She thought someone had surely taken Jesus' body away. As she was crying, she looked into the sepulchre. She saw two angels in white sitting where Jesus' body had been. The two angels asked Mary Magdalene why she was crying. She said, "Because they have taken away my Lord, and I know not where they have laid him." Then Mary Magdalene turned and saw someone standing by her. At first she did not know the person was Jesus. She thought he was the gardener. She thought perhaps he had taken Jesus' body away. Jesus said, "Mary." Then Mary Magdalene knew it was really Jesus. She was very happy to see Jesus alive again. Jesus also appeared to some of his other friends. They were happy to see him again. They loved him very much. After Jesus had seen his friends and some other people, he went to live with Heavenly Father. The Bible tells us about Jesus' birth and resurrection. Here's another good song. Thank you for the word so sweet. Thank thee for the food we eat. Thank thee for the birds that sing. Thank thee, God, for everything. Have you ever been to a circus? Perhaps one day there might be a circus in Mudgee that you'll be able to go to. But this story is about the unhappy prince. In a faraway land there once lived a young prince in a big, beautiful palace. All the people in the kingdom loved him. They liked to hear about everything he did. They knew he would be their king when he grew up. They wanted him to be a happy, loving king. When they saw him, he always looked unhappy. The king and queen wanted him to be happy too, but no one could help the prince be happy. He sat and stared at the wall. He didn't play with his wonderful toys. He didn't watch his pets. He didn't even like his food. He was always sad. The king and queen were worried about him. They called in their wise men. Each one had a plan for helping the prince. They put on shows for him. They brought new pets for him. They took him on trips round the kingdom to see all the people who loved him. But the little prince just stared at the wall. He didn't like his life at all. Finally, the king and queen had a wonderful idea. They had heard about a new kind of show. It was called a circus. They sent messengers to ask the circus people to come to the palace and give a special circus show for the young prince. In a few days, a long train of wagons moved into the grounds behind the palace. All the people in the kingdom had been invited to come to the palace for the circus. They were so excited that they crowded around to watch the men unload the wagons and put up the big tent. The workers fed the elephants, the tigers, the horses, and all the other animals. Everyone was happy and excited, but the little prince just stared at the wall. He didn't want the show at all. When everything was ready, the people crowded into the tent. The king and queen and the prince sat in special seats in front of the ring where the circus people did their tricks. All the animals and circus people marched around the big ring. They had beautiful bright costumes and the band played lively music. People in the crowd clapped their hands, and so did the king and queen. But the little prince just stared at the wall. He didn't like the show at all. The elephants marched around waving flags back and forth with their trunks. They let the dancing girls do tricks on their big backs. But the little prince just stared at the wall. He didn't like the show at all. Lady Helen put the lion through his act. The lion jumped through rings of fire and did other tricks. But the little prince just stared at the wall. He didn't like the show at all. A little dog did many fine tricks. He rode on a horse. He jumped through wire circles. He even stood up on his hind legs and pushed a baby buggy. People in the crowd liked the dog. They laughed and laughed. But the little prince just stared at the wall. He didn't like the show at all. A beautiful white horse came into the ring and galloped around very fast. When he came to the special place where the king and queen and prince were sitting, he stopped. Then he reared back with his front legs lifted high in the air. A pretty dancing girl jumped onto the horse and rode him around the ring. She did wonderful tricks as she rode. She stood on one foot, she stood on her hands, and she waved to all the people. The people in the crowd cheered. They liked the circus. But the little prince was afraid she'd fall. He wished the horse would go back to its stall. The band played gay, happy tunes and the show went on and on. The acrobats did tricks on high ropes and swings. The people in the crowd gasped and held their breath when the men jumped from swings. The people in the crowd gasped and held their breath when the men jumped from swing to swing. The people wondered if the acrobats would fall. But the little prince worried most of all. He didn't want the men to fall. Then the drums and the band gave a great big crash, and the clowns came running from every direction. Everyone laughed at them as they did their funny tricks. One clown was very, very tall, and his partner was only high as his knee. Big fat clown squirted pink lemonade from his hat. Another clown rode a one-wheeled bicycle backward and forward. Then the little prince didn't stare at the wall. He watched the clown, who was very tall. The clown took a big balloon and began to blow it up. He blew harder and harder, and his face grew redder and redder. The balloon grew larger and larger, and the little prince clapped his hands and laughed. When the balloon was as big as a tub, the clown offered it to the prince. Now the little prince had forgotten his frown. He reached his hands right out to the clown. He watched the clown all the rest of the day. He said to the king, "Don't send him away." The story is over, but I think you can guess why the clown came to stay at the palace all the time. He made the little prince so happy, and no one worried about him ever again. I can see a clown, I can see a story. See if I can sing you a song.